So for almost a year now, we've obviously been told to compulsively wash our hands, right? What I dislike about that advice is we're not being told what necessitates washing our hands. I guess we kind of are. We're told not to touch our face, but a special case of not touching our face, I think, could be addressed a little bit better, which is that we love to eat with our hands. And to give you an idea, this past year, I have been working on my resolution to normalize my relationship with food. And so, ever since the pandemic, I've actually been washing my hands less. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but I have reduced the necessity of washing my hands. You see, viruses do not cross intact skin. That's why we have skin to begin with, right? And so what we should address is why we would be worried about viruses on our hands. And the reason is because we put our hands into our mouths so much, right? And so the advice that's given isn't to watch where your hands go, it's to wash your hands over and over and over and over. And unfortunately, every time I bring this up, I get a lot of hate mail about this. So back in summer of 2020, Seattle went back to phase 2. And so we were back in the office, and I see a coworker who's eating some pizza using her hands. And so after she's done, because I didn't want to talk to her when she was eating, after she's done, I showed her where the utensils are. Maybe next time she should use some utensils. And she got pretty upset about that remark. And she would rather wash her hands until they're all chapped. That seemed to not bother her as much for whatever reason. But I think the reason the advice isn't given that we should watch where our hands go is that the food industry thrives on people eating so fast that they eat too much, right? So around the world, more people are dying from eating too much than too little. As much as we love to talk about starving to death, it's actually people eating too much, right? That's killing them. But as long as somebody's making money, right? Nobody makes money when you starve to death, right? That's the problem. And so we're being told to wash our hands, and we're not being told to reduce our need to wash our hands, right? Because somebody makes money when you wash your hands. Somebody makes money when you dirty your hands, right? So the thing is, before the crisis, I used to mostly wash my hands only when I had chemical contaminants on my hands, right? Because chemicals actually do cross your skin barrier, right? So if I were to work on my car and get battery acid on my hand or gasoline, or that I would wash my hands, right? If I were, I teach chemistry as a private tutor. Sometimes I do these experiments with the kids. That I will wash my hands, but not when I touch animals or food items, which I used to eat with my hands. I haven't eaten with my hands for quite some time. Like I said, I have my favorite brand of pizza. It's Amy's with no cheese. It's vegan. I rarely eat that nowadays, but when I do, it's with utensils. Even when I eat potato chips or corn chips, I have my favorite brand of chips is Boulders. I'll eat it with chopsticks. Just because I don't want to get my electronics dirty as well. My electronics hold up a whole lot better when I eat like that. Aside from that, I don't want to get whatever's on my hands into my mouth. I'd rather be shaking hands with people and hugging people than to worry about washing my hands, right? Anyways, some of my thoughts on that. Unfortunately, somebody stands to lose a lot of money if you don't eat with your hands, because eating with utensils is slower and you tend to get fuller without having to eat so much. That's another reason why I hate eating with my hands. Every time I've eaten with my hands, I find that I become much too stuffed before I know it, and that's probably because I'm eating too fast. And unfortunately, the industry thrives on people eating before they think. Anyways, stop eating with your hands and stop washing them so much. Thanks for watching.